behind just about every great NFL player, there's a great college program that helped develop them into who they are today. And some colleges have definitely produced a disproportionate amount of talent over the years than others. Every now and then, a lesser-known college will produce an all-time great NFL player. For example, did you know that Randy Moss went to Marshall? But of course, it's the elite programs that usually produce most of the top players in the game. It's no coincidence that big-time players like Tom Brady, J.J. Watt, and Derrick Henry all attended big-time schools like Michigan, Wisconsin, and Alabama, respectively. So, which schools develop the best NFL players? When it comes to producing NFL talent, the following 10 college teams stand out from the rest of the pack. And a big shout-out to Flesh Weasel for suggesting this video. Alabama. Let's start off with the obvious, shall we? It feels like in any given year, half of the NFL's superstars are Crimson Tide products. Now, I mean, it is insane how many all-time greats, past and present, Alabama has produced. Don Hudson, Bart Starr, Ken Stabler, Joe Namath, Derek Thomas, and John Hanna are just some of the Pro Football Hall of Famers that graduated from this program. If you want to focus on active stars who are also Canton-bound, where do we even start? There's perennial Pro Bowler and longtime Atlanta Falcons star wideout Julio Jones, another fellow wideout in Amari Cooper, Tennessee Titans running back Derrick Henry, Pittsburgh Steelers safety Minkah Fitzpatrick. Oh, and let's not forget his teammate Najee Harris. The defensive side of the ball also features stars like Marlon Humphrey, Patrick Surtain II, Christian Barmore, Eddie Jackson, Trayvon Diggs, and three-time Super Bowl champion Dante Hightower. What about the good old myth that Alabama QBs can't succeed in the NFL? Well, Mac Jones and Tua Tagovailoa will have something to say about that. When looking at specific positions, though, Alabama has developed a reputation as a wide receiver factory over the years. Today's young phenoms include Jerry Jeudy, Devontae Smith, Jalen Waddle, Jamison Williams, and Calvin Ridley, with a lot more on the way. Simply put, the Crimson Tide program has become the golden standard for producing all-world NFL talent. LSU. The LSU Tigers have only sent 6 players to the Pro Football Hall of Fame, including guys like Stephen Van Buren and Y.A. Tittle. But 20 years from now, that number is going to be much higher. It's really the skill position guys on offense where the Tigers have flourished in developing all-pro talents as of late. The headliner of the LSU alumni currently starting in the NFL is Cincinnati Bengals quarterback Joe Burrow. The number 1 pick of the 2020 draft took the Bengals to a Super Bowl appearance in his first full season, breathing brand new life into one of America's saddest sports franchises. Speaking of the Super Bowl, former New York Giants superstar Odell Beckham Jr. got his ring with the Los Angeles Rams following a disappointing 3-year run with the Cleveland Browns. Now, Burrow isn't the only LSU graduate that's producing on the Bengals either. 2021 5th overall pick, Jamar Chase, has quickly established himself as a top 5 receiver in the game today. While we're on offense, let's be sure to mention Minnesota Vikings superstar Justin Jefferson, veteran mainstay Jarvis Landry, and workhorse running back Leonard Fournette, and Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Don't be fooled by all the focus on the offensive players, though. The Tigers are well represented on defense at the NFL level, too. Headlining the list are Patrick Peterson, Tyrann Mathieu, Devin White, and Jamal Adams. These guys are proving that LSU players can get it done on both sides of the ball at the next level. Clemson. Hall of Fame safety Brian Dawkins, San Francisco 49ers great Dwight Clark, and William Refrigerator Perry are among the notable greats to come out of Clemson. But in regards to active stars, well, we could write a novel with all the names. Under Dabo Swinney's 5-star program, the Tigers have produced countless top-level NFL talents. It all starts with 2021 first overall pick Trevor Lawrence, Arizona Cardinals All-Pro wideout DeAndre Hopkins, Cleveland Browns quarterback Deshaun Watson, and Atlanta Falcons star corner A.J. Terrell. The second tier of great NFL players from Clemson is something else too, with Mike Williams, Grady Jarrett, Hunter Renfrow, T. Higgins, and Dexter Lawrence. More recent high-end picks like Travis Etienne, Isaiah Simmons, Christian Wilkins, and Andrew Booth Jr. still have plenty of time to morph into franchise-changing players with their respective teams. So hey, don't forget about these guys. Clemson may not develop quite as many stars as Alabama, especially on the defensive side of the ball or along the offensive line. But when it comes to quarterbacks and wide receivers, you won't find many schools who better prepare their guys for the pros. USC. It feels like a lifetime ago when the Trojans ran one of the top 2 or 3 football programs in the country. And while they're not in the same class as the likes of Alabama, Clemson, or Georgia anymore, we can't forget about all the great NFL talent this school has developed. Junior Seau, Troy Polamalu, Tony Buselli, Ronnie Lott, Anthony Munoz, Lynn Swan, and Marcus Allen are just some of the proud Canton members who played football for the Trojans. There's a strong mix of youngsters and veteran talent among the USC alum and the pros right now. Dallas Cowboys offensive tackle Tyron Smith is a virtual lock for the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Wide receivers Nelson Aguilar and Robert Wood and bruising running back Ronald Jones all own Super Bowl rings. A healthy Juju Smith-Schuster is among the NFL's most dynamic slot receivers as well, and Leonard Williams has grown into a star defensive lineman for the Giants since leaving the New York Jets. In regards to the younger stars, oh boy, where do you want us to begin? Amon-Ra St. Brown, Michael Pittman Jr., and 2022 first-round pick Drake London all have the makings to be consistent Pro Bowlers. Elijah Vera-Tucker looks to be a long-term building block on the Jets' offensive line, and Drake Jackson has the potential to be a game-wrecker on the San Francisco 49ers D-line with Nick Bosa. Georgia. I mean, we gotta start this entry by putting out the Bulldogs saw 5 defensive players go in round 1 of the 2022 NFL Draft. Think about that for an instant. The Jacksonville Jaguars kicked off the draft by selecting Trayvon Walker first overall. 12 picks later, the Philadelphia Eagles picked run-stopping machine Jordan Davis at number 13 overall. In the number 22 spot, the Green Bay Packers took linebacker Quay Walker, and they went right back to the Georgia well when they used the number 28 pick on Devontae Wyatt. Then finally, with the final pick in round 1, the Vikings took safety Lewis Cine. And that's not even mentioning the Georgia players who were taken after round 1. Like running back James Cook, receiver George Pickens, and linebacker Nakobe Dean, all of whom could easily grow into all-pro talents one day. Now, in regards to past talents, the Bulldogs have 5 alumni in the Pro Football Hall of Fame: Charlie Trippi, Fran Tarkenton, Richard Seymour, Darrell Davis, and Champ Bailey. The school was also responsible for developing Super Bowl 56 champion Matthew Stafford. And how about a shout out to likely future Hall of Fame wideout AJ Green, 2017 Offensive Player of the Year Todd Gurley, and other standout running backs like Sony Michel, Nick Chubb, and DeAndre Swift. Andrew Thomas, Azeez Ojulari, Roquan Smith, and Eric Stokes round out the list of former Bulldogs who should make long-term impacts with their respective teams in the NFL. Michigan. The Wolverines program has been one of the best for decades. Legendary coach George Allen, Buffalo Bills founder Ralph Wilson, plus the Hall of Fame corners Charles Woodson and Ty Law are among the most notable Wolverines alumni. In terms of both quality and quantity, Michigan is certainly well represented at the NFL level. I mean, the GOAT Tom Brady was a Wolverine for crying out loud. Easy to forget that sometimes because, well, he wasn't exactly a superstar during his college days. For Michigan, it's mostly offensive linemen and defensive linemen that tend to shine in the NFL. Taylor Lewan, Cesar Ruiz, Aiden Hutchinson, Brandon Graham, Frank Clark, Mason Cole, Kwity Paye, and Michael Onwenu highlight the big names who have made or are about to make an impact in the trenches at the NFL level. Penn State. There are 6 players in the Pro Football Hall of Fame who graduated from the Nittany Lions program. That group is headlined by Pittsburgh Steelers legend Jack Ham and Franco Harris. The Nittany Lions are one of the premier programs when it comes to developing star NFL wide receivers and running backs. Take, for instance, Saquon Barkley, Chris Godwin, and Allen Robinson. 3 Pro Bowl level talents, with the latter 2 outperforming their respective draft day's spots by a mile. 3 Penn State players were taken within the top 50 in the 2022 NFL Draft. That includes wide receiver Jahan Dotson to Washington at 16, linebacker Arnold Ebiketie to Atlanta at 38, and safety Jaquan Brisker to Chicago at 48. 1 year earlier, the Nittany Lions sent 3 players who looked to be future stars on their respective teams to the NFL. Cowboys linebacker Micah Parsons, Ravens pass rusher Odafe Owe, and Steelers tight end Pat Freiermuth. Oklahoma. The Sooners don't have all those well-known Hall of Famers like the other prestigious programs on this list, but they're always pumping out high-quality NFL talent, especially in the past 15 years. Adrian Peterson is the best NFL running back of his era, and will enter the Hall of Fame in his first year of eligibility. Longtime standout defensive tackle Gerald McCoy, future Hall of Fame offensive lineman Trent Williams, and former rushing champion DeMarco Murray all represented the Sooners well in the pros. Oklahoma went through a bit of a dry spell when it came to the 2013 to 2016 NFL drafts, and in that span, only Eagles offensive lineman and Super Bowl 52 champion Lane Johnson went on to have a stellar career. But things started to get much better in 2017, starting with the Cincinnati Bengals selection of Pro Bowl running back Joe Mixon. The 2018 draft alone produced Baker Mayfield, Orlando Brown, and Mark Andrews. 2019 produced Kyler Murray and Marquise Hollywood Brown. 2020 was CeeDee Lamb, Kenneth Murray, and Jalen Hurts' year. And in 2021, how about all-world center Creed Humphrey and Patriots power back Ramondre Stevenson? Ohio State. Long before he became an NFL icon, Paul Brown, who played instrumental roles in bringing the Cleveland Browns and Cincinnati Bengals to the NFL, established a winning culture at Ohio State, which has carried on 8 decades later. Even though Brown only coached there for 3 years, his impact on the school was nothing short of incredible. He coached the 1942 squad to a national championship, and the Buckeyes have been a top-notch football program ever since. Paul Warfield, Dick LeBeau, and Chris Carter are among the Buckeyes alumni who are proudly enshrined in Canton. In regards to active players, longtime Steelers star defensive lineman Cameron Hayward, the 31st overall selection in 2011, has an outside shot at the Hall of Fame. Ryan Shazier was on a trajectory to be a perennial All-Pro before a gruesome spinal injury ended his career in 2017. The 2016 draft was stacked with former Buckeyes. That class included Joey Bosa, Ezekiel Elliott, Taylor Decker, Michael Thomas, and Von Bell. A year later, Marshawn Lattimore, Malik Hooker, and Curtis Samuel went from Ohio State to the pros. Other young stars from the storied Big Ten program include Denzel Ward, Nick Bosa, Terry McLaurin, and Chase Young. The likes of Jeff Okudah, Justin Fields, Garrett Wilson, and Chris Olave also have incredible skill sets that will hopefully see them turn into superstar-level players in the very near future. Notre Dame. After the 2022 NFL Draft, Sports Illustrated published a list of the schools that have produced the most NFL draft picks. Taking the top spot was Notre Dame, with an insane total of 522. A whopping 13 Fighting Irish alumni are enshrined in Canton. That group is headlined by 4-time Super Bowl champion Joe Montana and Green Bay Packers co-founder Curly Lambeau, Cowboys guard Zach Martin, Viking safety Harrison Smith, and Indianapolis Colts guard Quentin Nelson should be Hall of Famers when all is said and done. Ravens offensive tackle Ronnie Stanley, veteran wideout Golden Tate, and linebacker Jalen Smith have also enjoyed a good amount of success. Steelers wideout Chase Claypool and Ravens safety Kyle Hamilton both have the makings to be long-term difference makers with their respective teams as well. Maybe Notre Dame isn't developing as much overall star power as schools like Clemson, LSU, and Alabama these days, but when it comes to all-time talent, no program has produced more for the NFL than the Fighting Irish. But what other college teams should we have included in this list? Join us in the comments section below to let us know. If you like this video and learned a thing or two, clicking the like button helps out a ton. And hey, we appreciate it. If this is your first time coming around to TPS though, subscribing is a great idea because we put out videos like this every single day. But as always, thanks for watching and we'll see you guys next time.